What's up, family? Welcome to another one of my series. Welcome to another series, Japan Be Like. I am a kid from Brooklyn. I am at an undisclosed location here in Georgia. I'm near Atlanta, not exactly inside Atlanta, but close enough that I kind of call it Atlanta. So shout out to everybody who is here. Shout out to everybody who is listening. I appreciate you guys. I am the Eternal Outsider, and my name is Trevor David Houchin. I wrote a book called The Eternal Outsider. I started writing it in 2013. I finished in 2017 and published it then. Seems like that's a little bit off, but that's actually right. I thought it was longer. I thought I had been working on it for longer, but I wasn't. I only worked on it, I guess, about 4 years then. That's what that sounds like. Yeah, about 4 years. Published it 2018. My mistake. Published it 2018. I believe 2017, 2018. Anyway, it's called The Eternal Outsider, 10 Years Black in Japan. A jaded memoir, and it is about my experience living in Japan, Nagoya, Japan, specifically, for 10 years. I lived there from 2003 to 2013. I got to Nagoya October 8th, 2003, and I left Japan April 9th. Might have been April 8th, 2013. So I didn't actually live there exactly 10 years, 9.5 years. But I feel like that was long enough for me to gain some insight into how Black people get down, how they do their thing. Shout out to my man Bones. Wagwan, wagwan. Yes, my brethren. I watched my man Bones did a video with Ranzo, two of my Jamaican brethren. And their video was a big inspiration for me to get on here and tell my little story about my run-ins in Japan. So that's what I'm doing. I guess I should shout something out about myself. I don't know. But if you don't know a little bit about the person who was talking to you, then maybe it's difficult to accept his message or whatever. But maybe not. Anyway, I was born in America, born in Brooklyn, to Jamaican parents. My parents moved to America, I guess, maybe the year I was born, something like that. So I was born and raised essentially in America by Jamaican parents. So for me, that makes me, and then I lived in Japan for 10 years. So you put all three of those together, and the way I see it is that I'm maybe 40% American, maybe 40% Jamaican, and then maybe 20% Japanese. And I'm going to try to get into why I consider myself 20% Japanese some kind of way during these videos, but not tonight. Looks like I'm hot. Am I too hot? How is this? Is this better? This? I don't know. I don't know what I like. This is too much. This is too much. All right, so we're gonna stick with this one. So yeah, I consider myself 40% American, 40% Jamaican, 20% Japanese. When you live in a different place, a different country for 10 years, you take on a lot of that country or that culture's stuff, whether you want to or not. You take it on. If you learn the language, you eat the food of the people, and you marry like I did. You get married into the culture by marrying a woman, or if you're a woman, marrying a man from that culture, and then having children and, dealing with the family, being a family man, paying bills, dealing with the in-laws, the mother-in-law, the father-in-law, sister-in-law, brother-in-law, nephews, nieces, if you're doing all this in the culture where you live and you live there for 10 years and you're working in the culture, contributing to the tax, I guess, to me, you live there, and you take on some of that culture, and whether you want to or not. So that's why I consider myself 20% Japanese. And then there's a certain amount of the culture that even if you leave, like I did, even though I haven't left permanently, but even if you leave, you hold on to it. And some of it you hold on to really tightly because you realize it's better. It's better than certain things from your culture. And this is one of the things that I learned about Japan. Like there are a lot of aspects of Japanese society and Japanese culture, Japanese living, Japanese being, Japanese characteristics, values, personality traits that I really appreciate, that I got from Japan, and that I try to keep, even though I'm here in America. And yeah, it's hard. It's difficult. It's difficult to hold on to certain values and culture traits around people who don't value the same things you value, no matter where you are, no matter what you value. So yeah, that's what that is. So yeah, so this video is about some differences between life in Japan and life in America. I know a lot of people, romanticize what they think life might be like in Japan or any other country that they want to. But I think in particular Japan, like a lot of people, I've met so many people who their life mission is to get to Japan. That, that's their whole thing. Their life mission is to get to Japan. And, they romanticize whatever they think life might be there. And I guess some of the stuff that they romanticize about might be true, but some of it might not be true. What I'm here to tell you or give you is my perspective. And, since everything that we think and say and feel is subjective, meaning, it filters through our belief system and traditions and fears and hopes and, social, whatever. Reality filters through all that garbage, and then we interpret it some other way. So this is my interpretation of life in Japan through my eyes, from my experience, what I experienced. So yeah, these are some differences between life in the United States and Japan. So I tried to put them in a few categories, so it's not all scattered, but everything is like mixed, right? Everything is all intertwined anyway. So I'm going to probably wind up putting some stuff in certain categories that belongs in another category. You know what I'm saying? But just bear with me. So I'm going to talk about these things, and I'm going to try to talk about them in this order. I'm going to try to keep this video short too, because the last one was too long. The last one was an hour, and I don't mean to talk an hour. That's too long. So here are the subjects I'm going to talk about in the differences between life in the United States. And then, by the way, I want that to be understood. Probably moving forward, I will use the term we. And when I say we, I am basically talking about Americans. I'm not talking about Canadians or, British people or Australians. I'm not necessarily talking about the world at large. I'm not necessarily talking about Black people. I'm talking specifically, when I say we, about Americans. And more specifically, I'm talking about citizens of the United States, how we get down here in the United States, because Canadians are also Americans and Mexicans are also Americans, but we tend to think of Americans as being only people from the States, and that's just not right. So I'm talking about Americans when I say we. So anyway, these are my topics: food, transportation, housing, recreation, like recreation, leisure time, work, lifestyle, friendships and people. And then in another video, I'm going to get into relationships. Because I think that's a video all unto itself. In another video, and even all of these things could possibly be videos unto themselves. But I think relationships and sex, marriage, all that stuff, people really, rightfully so, people are really interested in those things. So I'm going to try to get into a video about that later. And trust and believe, I got a lot to say about that because I was married in Japan. And if you read my book, The Eternal Outsider, 10 Years Black in Japan, you will get detailed experiences about all the relationships, almost all the relationships I had with various women in Japan. And it's hot. It's hot. All right, so first let's talk about food. So obviously, first of all, in Japan, they eat a lot of Japanese food, right? I don't need to say that. Most of the restaurants are Japanese. Most of the restaurants are Japanese food. Supermarkets have shelves and shelves and shelves and shelves of Japanese food. This was something that I was not prepared for. I thought Chips Ahoy and Pop-Tarts, and Steakums and stuff like that was everywhere. I thought that stuff was everywhere. And, that's because I'm a stupid American. I just did not expect to go there and be surrounded by so much Japanese food. Now, I did not live in Tokyo. Tokyo is an international city. Tokyo has a much broader palette of food to choose from. The same like if you live in New York City or if you live in Los Angeles, I guess, or San Francisco, or one of, big major metropolitan area like this, they have all, any kind of food you want from all over the world. I lived in Nagoya, which is, even though, they say Nagoya is a big city, it has kind of a small town mentality to it. And the food reflects that. So Japanese, when you're in Japan, you must eat Japanese food. This is just it. You're in Japan, right? Japan does not have a fast food culture like we have here in America. Like, I know people, their entire diet is fast food, In the morning, they go to McDonald's and they get an Egg McMuffin. And then for lunch, maybe they go to, I don't know, Subway or someplace like that. And they get, a hero. And then, dinner time, they go to Chick-fil-A or, something like that. And this is their lifestyle every day, all day for years. And then, they weigh 300 pounds and wonder how it happened. Another conversation. I'm going to leave that to my man, Mark, and his Tremors exercise program. I'm not an exercise guru, but Mark, big up, brethren. Big up, Tremors. If you want to lose weight and you want to, get in shape, understand how to eat properly, check out my man Mark Tremors video. But anyway, yeah, Japan is not fast food culture. They don't get down like that. They eat Japanese food, and there are Japanese fast food, but it's not the same as ours in that it's not. First of all, it's not artificial for the most part. I think I can say that. It doesn't have the salt and the sugar and the preservatives and, this and that, almost all American fast food has an abundance of. Fast food is not the thing in Japan, it's just not the thing. And the truth is, if you're going to Japan, one of the things that you should take advantage of anyway is the food. That's one of the best things about Japan is their food. Food in Japan is also very seasonal. And Japanese people cook in a very seasonal way. This means certain vegetables are seasonal. Like, I guess all vegetables are seasonal, but in American stores, and I think by and large, I could be wrong, Americans and in American stores, you can kind of get any vegetable and any fruit any time of year, basically. Okay, I know that's not 100%, but basically, there's always bananas in the store. There's always oranges. There's always apples. Watermelon, maybe no. Watermelon is a summer fruit in America. But basically, vegetables and fruits you can get anytime in America, but it's not so in Japan. Fruits and vegetables in Japan are very seasonal. So, don't expect to be able to go into the supermarket or the grocery store or whatever any time of the year in Japan and always get what you want. It's seasonal. And the way they cook is seasonal too. For example, nabe, which is one of my favorite Japanese meals. It's not a food specifically, it is a meal. Nabe is kind of a winter food in Japan. They won't cook up a pot of nabe in the summer. And there's many foods, many dishes like that in Japan that are seasonal, that Japanese cook and grow and make according to the season. Another thing, just real quick, certain fruits and vegetables that you're used to getting in America, you cannot get in, generally speaking, in Japan, or it's going to be very expensive. For example, something like mangoes. Mangoes are imported. They don't grow mangoes anywhere in Japan, as far as I know. Maybe Okinawa, but I don't think so. Mangoes are imported, and therefore they're going to be expensive. Now, of course, you can say, well, Trevor, mangoes are imported in America too. Yeah, but every supermarket in America has mangoes. Yes, am I wrong? I feel like it's not an exotic thing, mangoes, but in Japan, something like mangoes, kind of exotic. Juice. I love pineapple juice. I love cranberry juice in particular. You can't get cranberry. It's hard to get cranberry juice. In America, if you go to a restaurant, chances are they have cranberry juice. In Japan, if you go to a restaurant, they don't have it. And chances are you won't find it in your local supermarket. Cranberry juice is something that Japanese just don't like. This is according to both of my wives. I'm married again. I have a second Japanese wife now. This is for a future video. But both my first Japanese wife in Japan and my current Japanese wife here in America tell me cranberry juice is a non-entity in Japan. Juice in general, when you go to a restaurant, they might not have any juice. They'll have tea, Coke, alcoholic beer, maybe variations on the tea. They'll have green tea. Excuse me. They'll have green tea and they'll have brown tea, water. What else? Coke, and then alcoholic drinks. I don't drink, so I don't know what alcoholic drinks they have in the restaurants there, but no juice, man. Japanese people don't deal with juice too much. They don't deal with juice too much. All of the girlfriends that I had, it was a big deal for them to buy me juice. They thought it was something so interesting. Juice? Honto? Eh? Whatever, man. Yeah, I like juice. So juice is not a big thing. Another thing is this, man. The beverages that you are used to in America, juice included, they have an entirely different beverage system, I guess I want to call it. Calpis and all these different just a whole series of different um, products, just a whole series of different drinking products with completely different tastes. I know a lot of my friends, they love this Calpis. I hated Calpis. It tastes like cow piss to me, but it's called Cal piss. But the thing tastes like cow piss. My man Bone say Yakult. Lots of many different drinks that you never seen before, and you don't know what is in the drink. And I am a guy, man. I like good drink. That's why I like juice. I like fresh juice. I was the entire 10 years that I was there, man, the juice, I was unhappy about the beverage situation, but I did learn to like this one tea. I don't remember the name of it, but this tea that I learned to like was one of the seasonal products that was only available in the winter. So this tea would disappear, man. Every spring this tea would disappear, and I would be like, what the hell, where is my tea? And but I never said that to anybody. You don't go around saying to people, hey man, where's the tea that I like? It's just not, you can't say that to people. So I kept it to myself, and then when winter came, this tea would be there again, man. And then I would be like, okay, cool, it's back. And then in spring again, it's gone. And it took me 6 winters, man, to realize, oh, this thing is seasonal. So they have many products like that. Potato chips. There's a certain kind of pizza flavor potato chip that I love that they had in Japan. I don't remember the name of the chip maker right now, but this certain potato chip would appear in the convenience stores and only be there for a few months. And then when a few months would go away, this thing would be gone. And I am vexed. When me potato chip, yo, where the potato chip, the pizza one? What do you mean you don't have it? What do you mean, Swimasen? No. You have to fix this, yo. Come on, brethren. So, yeah, man, they have seasonal foods. Seasonal foods, no juice, no cranberry juice. Oh, here is a big thing, man. When you go to a Japanese restaurant and you order something from the menu, you can't change anything. If this is an example, if this dish comes with mustard or pickles or something, and you don't want that thing, the Japanese person will look at you and say, "Gomenasai, sumimasen, dekinai, dekinai." What do you mean dekinai? I just don't want cheese on the thing. Dekinai, sumimasen, gomenasai. And then your Japanese date is there with you, and she says to you, they can't change it. You have to get it with the cheese, but you can take it off. You can take it off. And you say to her, why can't they just not put it on? Why don't they just, instead of me have to take it off, I'm just asking politely, I'm asking the waitress to please not put it on. Why? No, they can't do that. Just get it. I'll take it off. I'll take it off for you. So this happened to me. This happened to me so many times, man, because I'm a picky eater. I don't like mustard. No, I like mustard. I don't like ketchup. I don't like pickles. But you can't order anything different than the menu. In fact, if you insist, you want it to do it like this, they will have to call the manager, and then if the manager will suggest calling the business owner. Like if the business owner lives in another city or some, even if it's a franchise, the manager will maybe at the end of it suggest calling, the headquarters of the franchise to see if you can get this thing without cheese. So, you can't change anything on the menu, man. You can't change anything on the menu. They don't like that. They don't allow that. They won't tolerate that. There is one fast food place in Japan that I really liked, and this was Most Burger. Most Burger had these teriyaki burgers, this fried chicken thing, this sweet potato pie thing. Most Burger was good, man. Yo, shout out Most Burger. Shout out Most Burger, yo. So, Japanese food. Food in Japan is Japanese. You know, don't expect to go to Japan and go to McDonald's and go to Subway and, you know, drink nothing but Coke and, you know, this and that. Man, don't do that. You know, that's stupid, man. That don't make no sense. If you go to Japan, eat Japanese food. See? That don't make no sense for go to Japan and eat all the fuckery we eat here in America. Don't do that, sir. So I guess that's all I want to say about the food stuff in Japan. There's enough vending machines with all kind of different foods, drinks. The konbinis have enough onigiri and stuff like that you can eat. You can survive on if you don't want to get too deep into Japanese food, because, you know, some of the stuff that they eat, I don't eat. Like octopus, Japanese love octopus. To me, it tastes like rubber. Squid, can't put that something in my mouth. See? Can't put that something in my mouth. Still. Squid, can't pass through these lips. What else? Natto is a Japanese traditional food. It is fermented soybeans. It is fermented soybeans, and I like natto. I got to like natto. I definitely suggest you try natto in Japan. It is a very Japanese food. Sushi obviously is ubiquitous. Sushi is now an international food. Sushi is no longer, you know, Japanese food, really. Sushi is international food. But natto is particularly Japanese food. And it's a tradition. Some people eat natto every day. It's supposed to be super healthy. And Bones say natto kusai dayo. Natto definitely smells special. I'm going to say that. Natto definitely has a very special smell. Kusai, that's what kusai means in Japanese. Kusai means it smells really bad. My wife says that about me a lot. Kusai, David. And she's talking about me. So, natto, definitely natto. All right, so that's enough about the food, I think. This thing's already 30 minutes, and the point that I want to put across about food in Japan is do not go to Japan expecting to eat American food or wherever you're from food. You're going to have to, it's going to be difficult for you to find your food in Japan. Just go on and eat Japanese food. It's better for you. Next thing I want to talk about, transportation. This is one of my favorite things about Japan. I'm from New York City. I told you I'm from Brooklyn. You don't need a car in New York. However, many people have cars. You definitely don't need a car in Manhattan. Brooklyn, Queens, the outer boroughs, okay, case to be made that you need a car in the outer boroughs, but in Manhattan, you definitely don't need a car, and you don't really need a car in the outer boroughs. This is one of my favorite things about New York City. It's also one of my favorite things about Japan. Unless you live way out in the countryside, if you live in or near any of the major metropolitan areas of Japan, you do not need a car. You need a bike. You might need a bike. Sometimes the station is, a little bit of a distance away from your house, whatever. You might need a bike, but you definitely don't need a car. And I am not a car guy. I don't have to drive another car for the rest of my life. I don't need cars. In fact, I think cars are bad for the planet. That's another video. But transportation in Japan is taken care of, man. The trains, which is what I rode mostly. I rode the bus a few times, not so many times, but Japan's subway and train and rail system is, I think, the best in the world. I think it's the best in the world, like by far, as a matter of fact. I don't know another city that competes. Maybe London, but I've never been on London's metro. New York's is good, but it's not as good as Japan's, but it's good. New York's has its pluses. New York's subway system runs 24 hours a day. And no, it doesn't run 24 hours a day. As of COVID, it runs 22 hours a day. It stops at 2, starts again at 4. I just found that out a couple of weeks ago when I was in New York visiting my daughter. But before that, New York City's mass transit system ran 24 hours a day. That's unparalleled transportation and convenience. That's incredible. You can go out of your house at 3 a.m. and go catch a train. That's amazing. Japan's subway system does not run 24 hours a day. It runs 18 hours a day, maybe 19. I think Tokyo has a few lines that shut down at 2 a.m., if I'm not mistaken, and start up again at 6. So that's 20 hours a day. But I know Nagoya's trains shut down. The latest one was not supposed to be past 12. So 12 to 6 shut down. That's 18 hours a day. But that, what makes up for that is taxis. In and around any major metropolitan Japanese city in the busy areas, there will be droves and droves of taxis everywhere. There's taxis everywhere. It seems like you can step out of a building and think, damn, I don't want to take the subway today. I want to take the taxi. And there's a taxi right there. I wanted to say, I don't know what's going on in Japan about Uber. I want somebody to tell me in the comments, is Uber a big thing in Japan? It must be, right? It must be a popular thing in the bigger cities, Tokyo, Osaka. Nagoya, I don't know. Yokohama, I don't know. Is Uber a big thing? Regardless of that, transportation in Japan is locked. Now, I was just telling a friend of mine, Michelle, this the other day. I did not live in Tokyo, okay? I did not live in Tokyo. Again, I visited Tokyo, of course, a handful of times while I lived there, but I did not live there. But the few times I went to Tokyo, its subway system, sumimasen, chotto, nani kore, seemed indecipherable to me. Indecipherable to me, bro. Tokyo's subway system looks crazy. Like when you see the map of the subway system in the subway, it looks like abstract art. It looks like somebody just took a bunch of colors and just, a bunch of Japanese kanji and just went crazy. To me, it looked indecipherable. Now, once again, I did not live in Tokyo. I lived in Nagoya. And Nagoya's subway system was easy. I think Nagoya, when I was there, it might be different now. Nagoya, when I was there, had 4 or 5 major subway systems, subway lines, and then some other like train lines, the Meitetsu, the Kintetsu. There's lots and lots of different train subway options in Japan, which I love. Japanese love trains. I love trains. Being a kid from Brooklyn, taking the subway since I was, 5 or 6 years old. I love subways. I love trains. And Japanese love trains. And of course, I can't mention Japanese transportation without mentioning the Shinkansen, which is just the Shinkansen is a technological miracle, yo. The Shinkansen is a technological miracle, yo. Hands down, no doubt. This Shinkansen, I think it travels 400 miles an hour. Okay. And the ride is so smooth. It's like you're in an airplane. It's like you're in an airplane, the Shinkansen. And it's got huge windows for you to look out. There's cute Japanese, I don't know what you would call them, like what cute Japanese girls walking down the aisle selling stuff, tea, snacks, drinks, sandwiches, onigiri that you can buy and just relax and check out the view as it rolls by. And you're traveling 300 miles an hour in absolute comfort, and you're on the ground. You're not in the air, but it feels like you're flying. But I want to say something else, man. I want to say something else about the Shinkansen. It can be dangerous. Why? Why, Trevor? Oh, you mean dangerous? Why? Just get on the train and sit down and, oh, you mean dangerous? Let me explain to you what happened to me. Now, Japan's subway system and railway system is punctual. Okay? They're not wasting no time. They're not waiting for nobody. It's timed. If you see the Japanese guys who are working in the subway on the Shinkansen or the other trains, you see them always checking their watch. They're always kind of pointing where they're going, checking their watch, looking at the clock, checking their watch, pointing. This is because timeliness is extremely important. Punctuality is extremely important in Japan. So one time, I was either going to or coming from Toyohashi. I was teaching at a company called Densho. Me and Paul, shout out Paul Kohler, he's now in California. Me and Paul were doing that. I was working for OTC. I was teaching business English. I was probably making about $35 an hour, $60 an hour. I don't remember. Going out there maybe 4 times a week. It was a part-time job. Anyway, I was taking the Shinkansen. One time I was late. I was running up the stairs. I knew my train was going to be there at this exact minute. Man, I was running up the stairs. I'm running. The door is closing. I stuck my hand into the door. I had a bag or a suitcase or something. I stuck it into the door thinking the door would open, because that's what happens in New York. If the doors close and you put your hand in there, all the doors on the train are going to open. If the doors close, man, in New York City, and you put a pen, if you're in New York City, if the doors are closing and you put a pen in there, the doors will open back up. Man, I got my suitcase in there thinking that same thing would happen. Listen, that Shinkansen started to move. And I'm like, hey, man, hey, shimasen. Somebody saw me. Of course, Everybody starts screaming. There's pandemonium. Everybody on the platform is looking at this stupid black guy with his suitcase stuck in the moving damn Shinkansen, screaming his head off with my dreadlocks flying in the wind. Eventually, the train stopped. You know, they opened the door. I got a good scolding from the dude there. Don't ever do that again. Hey, gomenasai, sumimasen, wakarimashita. Hey. Woo. The trains, you know, that punctuality is important, man, for them. If those doors ever start closing, leave them alone. Let them close. You're going to be late. Sorry. But that's the plus about it. The plus about it is that they're so punctual, and I love that. You can organize your life much better around any system that you know is perfectly timed. You know what I mean? There's no guesswork as to what time the bus might come, how long you might wait. There isn't any of that. You know exactly what time you have to wake up and how long to take a shower and exactly how long to eat your breakfast, to walk a few blocks to the station and blah, blah, blah. And then you know at this exact moment, this train's going to be pulling into the station. This was a wonderful thing for me about Japan. This was a wonderful thing for me about Japan. I'm going to stop this for 1 second because I think I might be having technical difficulties, but I'm going to pick it up in just a minute, guys. A kid from Brooklyn. I'm talking about Japan. I hope you're enjoying. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back.